You arrive in Spain with a few expectations: flamenco dancers, sun-drenched beaches, and maybe a plate of paella under the stars. But within hours of landing, you realize that Spain is not a postcard. It's a living mosaic, vast, layered, and wildly diverse. You start in a big city, maybe Barcelona or Madrid. The rhythm is fast, the streets pulse with life, and everyone seems to be talking at once. Not quietly, not politely. Just vividly. You notice the difference immediately. Spain is alive in every direction. You feel it in the clatter of espresso cups, in the buzz of scooters, in the overlapping conversations pouring out of tapas bars. But here's what you didn't expect. Spain isn't one culture, it's 17. As you travel, you learn about the 17 autonomous regions, each with its own personality, accent, and in many cases, its own language. Catalonia, the Basque Country, Galicia, Andalusia, they all feel like different nations sharing one beautifully chaotic map. You thought you were visiting one country. Instead, you're exploring many, each offering its own version of Spain. You walk through ancient Moorish alleys in Granada, then step into a hyper-modern art gallery in Bilbao. You sip cider in Asturias, then eat octopus in Galicia, then catch flamenco in Seville. You realize the word Spain doesn't do justice to what this place actually is. A collection of old kingdoms still humming with pride. And the best part? Most travelers rush through. They check off Madrid, snap a selfie in Park Güell, and move on. But you're here to see more, to go deeper. Locals tell you, don't just go where everyone else goes. So you listen. You build an itinerary that balances icons with hidden gems. You learn to pair Barcelona with a quiet town in Aragon, Madrid with a village in Extremadura. You go off-script, and that's when Spain really begins to open up. You came looking for a vacation, but what you've found is a journey into history, identity, contradiction, and joy. And you're only getting started. Before your trip, you probably thought, Spain? It's sunny year-round. And while that's partly true, it's also misleading. Because as you begin to move through the country, you realize that Spain's seasons aren't just about weather, they're about experience. You arrive in summer, expecting beach days and endless sunshine, and yes, you get them. The coastlines of Valencia and Andalusia shimmer. Bars spill onto the streets until long after midnight. Locals stay out late, and life happens outdoors. But you also learn the flip side. The heat inland is intense. In places like Seville, Cordoba, or Madrid, temperatures soar past 40 degrees Celsius, 104 degrees Fahrenheit. Streets empty during the afternoon. Siesta isn't just tradition, it's survival. Then someone tells you the trick. Visit in spring or fall. In spring, everything blooms. Orange blossoms perfume the air in Seville. The hills of the north turn lush and green. Festivals like Las Fallas in Valencia light up entire cities with fireworks, color, and chaos. And the crowds? Manageable. You breathe easier, you walk longer, you linger in the plazas. In autumn, Spain exhales. The crowds thin, the weather cools. Grapes are harvested in La Rioja. Markets fill with wild mushrooms, figs, and chestnuts. It's a time to slow down, to sit at an outdoor cafe in Toledo, glass of red in hand, and watch the golden light fall on ancient walls. And then there's winter, which isn't what you expect. In the south, it's mild, often sunny. You can visit the Alhambra without the crowds or sunburn. In the north, it's wetter, cooler, and perfect for cozy cafes in Basque Country or snowy walks in the Pyrenees. In Madrid and Barcelona, the festive season comes alive with Christmas lights, markets, and Roscón de Reyes in January. Each season changes the rhythm of the country. The meals, the hours, the festivals, the feel of the air. And that's the secret. Spain doesn't have a single mood. It shifts. It breathes. It invites you to return in a different month, a different light, to meet a different version of itself. You realize the question isn't when to go. It's how many times you'll want to come back. You knew Spain would be different. You just didn't realize how much slower, louder, and more alive everything would feel. Your first surprise? Time doesn't work the same way here. Lunch starts at 2 p.m. dinner? often at 9 or even 10. The rhythm of the day isn't built around work or errands. It's built around meals, rest, conversation. Shops close in the afternoon. People take time. At first, it throws you off. Then it liberates you. You learn to adjust your pace. Instead of trying to see everything, you start to sit more, watch more, breathe more. You realize that not rushing is the point. You also notice that Spanish culture is deeply social. People don't eat alone. They gather. They talk loudly, emotionally, often with their hands. A simple hello can lead to a 10-minute exchange. Strangers speak to you at bus stops, in markets, in bars, and you start to love it. But with all this openness, there's also structure. When you greet someone, you say, hola, or buenos dias, not just to friends, but to shopkeepers, bus drivers, bartenders. A polite gracias and por favor go a long way. It's not formality, it's respect for the interaction. You also learn about regional pride. What you call Spanish culture looks very different depending on where you are. In the Basque Country, they speak Euskara. In Catalonia, it's Catalan. In Galicia, Galician. These aren't just dialects, they're identities. And they matter, so you stop assuming. You ask questions, you show interest. Locals notice, and they open up. You're not expected to know everything. You're just expected to care. And then there's the food culture. Not just what's on the plate, but how it's shared. Tapas aren't just snacks. They're a way of being together. You learn that you don't order everything at once. You start slow, chat, sip, then maybe order more. It's a rhythm of connection, not consumption. Soon, you realize that Spain isn't trying to impress you. It's just inviting you to be present. And once you accept that invitation, everything, even time, starts to feel richer. At first, Spain feels big, bigger than you imagined. Cities spread wide, mountains separate regions, and the distances between places like Madrid, Seville, and Barcelona seem vast. But then you discover the secret. Spain is a country made for moving and made for savoring. You begin with the train system, and suddenly everything clicks into place. The Avenue high-speed trains slice the distance between cities in half. Madrid to Seville? Just 2.5 hours. Barcelona to Zaragoza? Less than 2. You sit by the window and watch olive groves, red clay hills, and windmills blur past. It's not just travel, it's scenery therapy. You download the Renfe app, book tickets in advance for the best prices, and realize that first class doesn't always cost much more, but it comes with extra space and quiet. Train stations are clean, intuitive, and rarely stressful. Spain makes train travel not just efficient, but enjoyable. Then you discover local trains, cercanías, that connect suburbs and nearby towns. Perfect for day trips. You hop from Madrid to Toledo, or from Malaga to the beaches of the Costa del Sol, with no car and no fuss. And for the cities? Walking and metro. Spanish cities are made for pedestrians. Wide sidewalks, plazas around every corner, and always something to see. A sculpture, a hidden bar, a grandmother carrying a baguette like it's a sword. The metros, in Madrid, Barcelona, Valencia, Bilbao, are clean, fast, and affordable. You use contactless payment or a local transit card and feel like a local within days. But eventually, you leave the big cities behind and start renting a car. In the north, winding roads lead to sleepy coastal towns and green mountains. In the south, the highways carve through sunflower fields and ancient olive groves. You stop when you want, eat where you feel drawn, and realize the best parts of Spain aren't always scheduled. You learn to trust the journey, whether it's on tracks, wheels, or your own 2 feet. Because in Spain, getting around isn't just about reaching the destination. It's about letting the land, the language, and the rhythm of the road guide you somewhere unexpected. You expected hotels, maybe a modest room in the city center. But once you begin exploring Spain, you realize that where you stay can be just as memorable as where you go. In Madrid and Barcelona, you find sleek design hotels, clean lines, rooftop views, breakfast on the terrace. But even here, there's charm. Maybe it's the tiled floors, the wrought iron balconies, or the front desk clerk who gives you her favorite local tapas bar instead of a tourist map. You realize fast, Spaniards take pride in hospitality, but they don't overdo it. They give you space, they give you comfort, and they give you keys to a more local rhythm. Then, you discover paradores, Spain's unique network of state-run hotels, often housed in restored castles, monasteries, or palaces. You sleep in stone chambers once used by knights. You walk through Moorish courtyards where fountains still trickle. In places like Ronda, Caceres, or Leon, the hotel is the destination. You don't just stay in Spain's history, you sleep in it. In smaller towns and rural regions, you stumble upon casa rurales, country homes turned guest houses. A family welcomes you with homemade jam, local wine, and tips on which village festival you shouldn't miss. The room might be simple, but the warmth is unforgettable. Here, you're not a customer, you're a guest. If you're by the coast, you find breezy apartments with sea views and tiled patios. In Basque Country, or Asturias, stone cottages hide in green valleys, perfect for hikers and seekers of silence. In Andalusia, whitewashed hostels with courtyards fill with birdsong at dusk. Every place reflects its region, its pace, its palate, its pride. And yes, Spain offers all the modern choices too, from hostels to boutique gems to Airbnb flats in the heart of old quarters. But you learn to choose with intention. You book fewer nights. You stay longer. You let your accommodation be part of the story, not just a place to drop your bag. Because in Spain, the right room doesn't just help you rest, it helps you feel the country more deeply, one night at a time. You came hungry, and Spain doesn't disappoint. But the food isn't just good. It's different. It has rules, rhythm, and meaning. It doesn't just feed you, it teaches you. First lesson: you don't rush meals here. Lunch starts around 2 p.m. And dinner? Often not before 9. At first, you're starving by 6, watching empty restaurants, wondering if they're closed. They're not. They're just waiting for the night to begin. So you adjust. You grab a vermouth at 7, a tapa at 8, and dinner at 9:30. And suddenly, you're in the rhythm. You eat slower, talk longer, stay later. Second lesson: tapas aren't a dish. They're a way of life. In Andalusia, they come free with your drink. In the Basque Country, they're called pintexos and stacked like jewels on every bar. You don't sit down for one big meal. You bar hop, order small plates, and move on. You share. You point at what looks good. You let curiosity lead. You try jamón ibérico, rich and nutty, sliced paper thin. You spoon up salmorejo, a cold tomato garlic puree crowned with egg and ham. You crunch into croquetas, creamy inside, crispy outside. You discover pulpo a la gallega, tender octopus over paprika-sprinkled potatoes. Every region has its pride, and every meal is a celebration. Even breakfast teaches you something. It's not bacon and eggs. It's tostada with olive oil and tomato, maybe a café con leche, taken slowly, standing at the bar. It's light, simple, and honest. And then there's wine and beer. Always local, always cheap, always good. You sip Ribera del Duero in Castilla-Albarino in Galicia, or a dry sherry in Jerez. Even the house wine is decent, because in Spain, wine is for drinking, not for showing off. You stop thinking of food as something to get through. You start to understand that here, eating is the anchor of the day, the reason people gather, talk, and reconnect. And every bite reminds you, this isn't fast food, or even fancy food. It's soul food, in every sense of the word. You don't speak Spanish fluently, maybe not at all. But in Spain, you quickly discover that language isn't just about words. It's about effort, tone, and presence. Your first day, you try a polite hola, maybe a hesitant gracias, and suddenly faces brighten. Even if you mess up, people appreciate the attempt. What they don't love: speaking English before even trying a greeting. You learn that a simple buenos dias opens more doors than perfect grammar ever could. You pick up key phrases fast. ¿Dónde está? Where is? Una cerveza, por favor. One beer, please. La cuenta, por favor. The check, please. No hablo mucho español. I don't speak much Spanish. And then you start noticing something else. Body language. Spaniards talk with their hands, their eyebrows, their whole bodies. Conversations are animated, even if the topic is simple. You don't just hear Spain, you feel it. But while the energy is expressive, manners matter. You always greet shopkeepers, say pardon when squeezing by, and avoid being loud in quiet places. It's a country that values friendliness, but also respect for space and rhythm. You also learn a cultural truth. Spain isn't about service, it's about experience. Don't expect someone to refill your water without asking, or bring the check automatically. You're welcome to linger. You'll never be rushed out. But you're also expected to speak up when you're ready. Independence is valued here, not because people don't care, but because they trust you to enjoy your time. In smaller towns, you might not hear much English at all, and that's okay. You mime, you smile, you stumble through a sentence, and somehow, connection still happens. People help. They meet you halfway. Eventually, you stop worrying about getting it right. You realize Spain doesn't need perfection. It just asks for presence. A shared laugh over a wrong word. A nod of thanks. A look that says, I'm trying, and I'm happy to be here. Because in Spain, communication isn't a performance. It's a gesture of humanity. You thought Spain was just about flamenco and paella. But once you're here, you realize Spain is built on celebration. Sometimes loud, sometimes quiet, but always deeply rooted in ritual, rhythm, and joy. You stumble into your first fiesta by accident. A small town parade, music echoing off stone walls, women in bright dresses spinning in the street, children throwing flower petals, old men singing in cracked voices. You ask what it's for. Someone shrugs, our village saint. And just like that, you realize every town, every region has a reason to gather. In Valencia, it's Las Fallas, days of fireworks, satire, and giant sculptures set on fire in the streets. In Pamplona, it's San Fermin, where the brave, or foolish, run with bulls. In Seville, Semana Santa brings candlelit processions that feel ancient and sacred. Then comes Feria, with flamenco, horses, and dancing that lasts all night. But festivals don't always mean spectacle. In Galicia, you share octopus at a village fair, where the biggest event is a traditional bagpipe performance. In the Basque Country, you watch rural sports, wood chopping, stone lifting, while sipping cider under oak trees. And in between all the events, there's the most consistent celebration of all, the siesta. No, not everyone naps. But the midday pause is real. Shops close, streets quiet down. Lunch stretches out. It's not laziness. It's balance. Time to eat well, talk longer, and recharge. You start to love it. The slow hour, the unhurried return to life. Even at night, Spain celebrates differently. The streets come alive late, with laughter, music, friends leaning in over tables full of tapas. You realize that Spain doesn't just celebrate holidays. It celebrates the everyday. There's joy in buying fresh bread, in gathering for a meal, in walking slowly through a plaza where children chase pigeons and old women sit with folding fans and stories. And that's what you take with you, not just the memories of fireworks and flamenco, but the feeling that life is worth noticing and worth honoring. In Spain, celebration isn't the exception, it's the heartbeat. By now, you've found your rhythm in Spain. You greet people with hola, eat dinner at 9 p.m., and no longer flinch when someone speaks to you passionately with both hands. But along the way, you've noticed a few things that trip up travelers, and you're glad you learned them early. First mistake? Eating too early. You arrive at a restaurant at 6:30 p.m. and wonder why it's empty. That's not dinner time. It's still siesta for the kitchen. Spaniards eat late, and if you want to blend in, you should too. Lunch at 2, dinner at 9, snacks, tapas, and vermouth tide you over in between. Second, expecting fast service. This isn't the States. No one's rushing to flip your table. In Spain, you linger. A server might take 10 minutes to bring the bill, not because they forgot you, but because they respect your time. When you're ready, you ask for la cuenta. Third, skipping the greetings. Walking into a shop without saying buenos dias or hola feels rude, even if unintentional. Every interaction here begins with a greeting. It's simple courtesy, and it opens doors. You also learn not to assume everyone speaks English. Many do, especially in big cities. But in small towns or rural regions, Spanish is essential. Even a few polite phrases show effort and are always appreciated. One more slip-up? Not understanding regional pride. Spain isn't a single cultural identity. It's layered, local, and fiercely proud. Referring to Catalonia or the Basque Country as just Spain can come off as dismissive. Ask questions, listen, show interest. You'll find people eager to share, but not to be reduced. And perhaps the biggest mistake of all? Trying to rush through Spain like a checklist. This isn't a place to conquer, it's a place to experience. To sit longer. To wander aimlessly. To talk to strangers and taste whatever the guy next to you ordered without knowing the name. You realize that Spain rewards curiosity over control. And the less you try to do it right, the more magical it becomes. Because in Spain, the best things happen when you stop acting like a visitor and start living like someone who's finally figured out how to enjoy the moment. It's your last day, your suitcase is packed, your train or flight is waiting, and the streets you once wandered with a guidebook now feel strangely familiar, like old friends. You sit at one last cafe, maybe in Seville, maybe in San Sebastián, maybe in some quiet village square. The waiter brings you a coffee without asking your name, and you sip it slowly, watching life swirl around you. You came to Spain expecting sun, tapas, and a little adventure. You leave with a different kind of souvenir. Not one you can pack, but one that lives in your rhythm. You walk slower now. You make time for meals. You say hola to strangers and gracias with feeling. You've learned that a country can teach you things without speaking your language. Spain taught you to trust the pauses. To eat when you're hungry, not when the clock says so. To dance even if you don't know the steps. To sit through silence without filling it. To feel history through stones and stories, not just signs. You'll remember the laughter over pinzos in a loud bar in Bilbao, the stillness of a cathedral at dusk in Toledo, the scent of oranges in Córdoba, the long shadows on a coastal cliff in Galicia. But more than anything, you'll remember the feeling that life, when lived the Spanish way, can be simple, rich, and profoundly present. You don't need to rush to come back. Spain isn't going anywhere. It's patient like its cities, eternal like its plazas, timeless like its siestas. But you know you will return, not just to see more, but to feel that rhythm again. As you board your plane or train, the voices, music, and warmth of Spain echo behind you, not as noise, but as memory. You didn't just visit Spain, you lived a little more like Spain, and that's something you'll carry with you, wherever you go.